Okay, so the COUNTIFS function in Excel is just like COUNTIF, but with an S at the end. So it does basically the same thing as COUNTIF, except it checks for multiple criteria in a row rather than a single criteria. So with COUNTIF, we might say something like equals COUNTIF, where the state is Texas, right? And we get a result of 58, meaning that in this subset of UFO sighting data, there are 58 rows where column C is Texas. So what if we want to narrow that down though and say, okay, how many rows are there where state is Texas and shape is disk? So I'm going to modify. So now it's the COUNTIFS function, right? So that means we can use multiple criteria here. So where column C is Texas and where column D is disk. And remember, Texas, TX, and disk are text values, so those go inside quotation marks. And I'll go ahead and hit enter, and we get 5. So 5 rows in the data where state is Texas and shape is disk. We can do the same thing with Kansas and light-shaped UFO sightings, whatever that means. So I'll say equals. Remember, every formula starts with an equal sign. COUNTIFs with an S. So we're saying we're state, column C. Remember, C:C means entire column C, comma, Kansas. And shape, column D, equals light. Okay, so 2. In this entire subset of data, there are 2 rows where state is Kansas and shape is light. And we can do this for tons of criteria. You know, if there were more columns, and you know, we could add on to this and say, okay, where city, column B is Hudson, right? Okay, so there's one. There's one UFO sighting in Hudson, Kansas that's light-shaped. So I can keep adding pairs of column and criteria. Remember we looked at, so this town Hudson, there's a Hudson, Massachusetts and a Hudson, Kansas. So how many Hudson, New Hampshires are there? So we could find that out by saying equals COUNTIFs, where city is Hudson, right? And so if I just hit enter right now, remember we get 4 values because there are 4 UFO sightings in a town called Hudson, regardless of the state. But if we want to narrow that down, we'll say, okay, now column C, New Hampshire. Oops. And we get 2. So yeah, 4 Hudsons overall, but there are 2 where city is Hudson and state is New Hampshire. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through the exercises and the solutions. If you're not following along on excelexercises.com, you should be. There's a link in the comments if you want to click on that and follow along with us. Okay, so this first question just wants us to try typing a COUNTIFs formula. So I'm going to say equals COUNTIFs. I'm going to go ahead and hit the left arrow key over here to column B, and then I can hold control and hit spacebar to select the entire column. I could also type in B2 colon B7, this entire range of B2 to B7, but either way works. And USA. And then column C, looking for values greater than 1 trillion. So we're saying, okay, where column B is USA and column C is greater than 1. what's the value here? So 2. There are 2 that match that pattern. So this one is asking us, what would this formula return? It's not asking us to type the formula. It's asking for the what would be the result. So where column B from B2 to B8 is Missouri. So that's 1, 2. But where column C is also greater than 2,000. So we have 1, but this one is not greater than 2,000. So there's only one row where both of these conditions are true. So that's going to be our answer. Okay, what would COUNTIFS, column B, and then remember we have this wildcard pattern here. So anything that starts with an M followed by anything else, because this little asterisk means anything. So where column B starts with M and column C is greater than 2,000. So let's take a look here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows where column B starts with M. But of those, there's 1, 2, 3, only 3 where column B starts with M and column C is greater than 2,000. So there's only 3 rows where both those conditions are true. Write a COUNTIFS function to count the number of cities whose names start with M, where crime is above 1,550. So yeah, so we can just hit, remember, equal sign, COUNTIFS, open parentheses, where the city's name starts with M. So city, I'll select column A. We'll use that wildcard. M asterisk means starts with M. And crime is above. I'll go ahead and pick this column. And remember, these comparison operators go inside quotes. So I'll say greater than 1,550. And just eyeballing this really quick, we're going to get, here's one result, 2 results. 2 results where both conditions are true. So when I hit check answer, I should see a 2 here. Okay, cool. It worked. Okay, this next question is just a different way of asking the same thing. So rather than writing the formula, what would that formula we just typed, what would be the result? We just saw that it was 2, right? Because in column A starts with M and column C is greater than 1550. There were only 2 rows where both those conditions were true. Okay, what would COUNTIFS where column A starts with M and column C is greater than 1,600? Okay, so in this case, Memphis starts with M. It matches this pattern of M asterisk, and crime is above 1,600. Milwaukee starts with M, but crime is not above 1,600. So there's only one row in this data set where every condition in here is true. So that means I'm going to get a 1. Okay, so asking about where it starts with, city starts with M and crime is above 2,200. Just looking at this data, there's no city where crime is above 2,200. So that would return a 0 because there are no rows where both conditions are true. Write a COUNTIFS formula to find the number of cities in the USA where the average July temperature is greater than 90. Okay, so we have country in column B, average July temperature in column C. So we could say COUNTIFS. I'm going to arrow key over to country, hit Control spacebar to select that whole column. And we're looking for USA. So USA, that's a text value, and that goes within quotes. And then we're also looking for something where the July temperature is greater than 90. So go ahead and select column C, which shows the temperature. And within quotes, I'll say greater than 90. Because remember, these comparisons also go within quotes. So looking at the data right now, we have one where the country is USA and the average July temperature is greater than 90. We have a second one here, a third one here, and then that's it. So there's only 3 rows here where every condition within the parentheses is true. So we get a 3. Okay, so what would COUNTIFS USA C2 C8 greater than 90? So this is, another rephrasing of the formula we just wrote. It's asking what would the result be, and remember it's 3, where country is USA and temperature is greater than 90. Okay, so there's a wild card here. So we're asking, okay, country can be anything, and temperature is greater than 90. So yeah, this asterisk means, okay, any text value within column B. Another way we could write this is just to completely omit this B comma asterisk, and only have one criteria in the formula, right? It would give us the same result. But this is just a kind of a different way of asking. You could see all kinds of different things out there in the world. People write all kinds of crazy things in spreadsheets, and you're going to have to figure out what they mean. So yeah, if you see something like this is just saying, okay, if country is anything, July temperature is above 90, how many results match all those criteria? So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4.